Hello and welcome to the course of Material Science and Manufacturing Process, that is MSMP. In this course, in the last lecture, we have discussed about heat treatment, and that is the first part of the heat treatment. There we have discussed what is heat treatment and what are the classification of the heat treatments, why the heat treatment is used, that means what is the application of heat treatment. And in heat treatment, we in the from the classification we have discussed about annealing only. Now this is lecture 11th number of lecture, and in this lecture this is the module 2, and in this lecture we will see about second part of the heat treatment. Now in this lecture we will introspect about normalizing, hardening and tempering. These three important heat treatment process we will see. Then we will see understand different type of surface hardening. So we will see about the surface or case hardenings also. Now let's start. So normalizing, what is this process? Normalizing is nothing, it is a process in which it is also done in medium carbon steel. In this process, heating of or heating of the steel and cooling, in this process the normalizing consists of heating the steel and cooling it in still atmospheric air. That means atmospheric cooling. That means, as we can remember from annealing, that annealing is done in annealing cooling is done is in annealing cooling is done is furnace itself. So in annealing the cooling is done in furnace, and in normalizing the cooling is done in atmosphere. That means in still atmospheric air the cooling is done. So this is the process of normalizing. So in normalizing process, what may be formed in this process? Fine perlite can be formed from gamma austenite. This fine perlite, remember from the iron carbon diagram, what do you mean by perlite? Perlite is nothing. Perlite is a eutectic reaction mixture. Perlite is a eutectoid reaction mixture of what? Of gamma austenite. And this reaction mixture gamma austenite and perlite consist of what? Cementite and alpha ferrite. So perlite is a mixture of cementite and alpha ferrite. It is a mixture of Fe3C, that is cementite, that is a compound of iron and carbon, and cementite. What is this is cementite. And ferrite, what is ferrite? Ferrite is a solid solution of carbon in iron, right? So this is our in case of by normalizing we can get this mixture in the microstructure. By getting this mixture, to get this mixture, what we need to do? We need to heat the steel completely to gamma austenitic range first. We need to heat the steel completely to gamma austenitic range. After reaching that range or after reaching that temperature, what we will do? We will increase the temperature 30 to 50 degree above the upper critical temperature. What is upper critical temperature? In the iron carbon diagram, that 11, this upper line is known as upper critical temperature line, and the at that upper, above the 30 to 50 degree above the upper critical temperature, steel is heated, and that is held in that temperature for 30 to 60 minutes for uniform austenization. This is important. Uniform austenization. Why it is important? Because as to deform it for formation of perlite, the amount of austenite should be greater, and the amount, each and every portion of the particle, each and every portion of the material should be transformed to perlite. So what we can do? We can say that fine austenite transformation is first required before it transformed to the perlite. So that gamma austenite or homogeneous austenization can be achieved by homogeneous heating, and that homogeneous heating is given to the steel if we heat the workpiece with 30 to 50 degree above the upper critical temperature, and held it to that temperature for 30 to 60 minutes for uniform austenization, and which is followed by, and this is followed by cooling of the sample or cooling of the workpiece at room temperature in open air. So this is also important. At room, the cooling is done at room temperature in open air. This is in case of normalizing. So what are the consequences of being of this process? First consequences. First consequence is the residual stress relieved by relieved only partially. So complete relief of the residual stress won't be possible. Why won't be possible? Because it is cooled in room temperature. That means it is somewhat fast cooling process as compared to annealing. In annealing, the cooling speed is lowest, but in case of normalizing, the cooling speed is normal, and it is so it is residual stress is partially relieved. Next, ductility is less as compared to annealed steel. Next, formability is also very low. So formability is also low. Fine grain structure can produce by normalizing, which results in strength and hardness. So that is why normalizing is done. Normalizing is done to increase the hardness. So when we require hard material, or when we require hard product for our functionality, that hard product from steel can be made by treating the steel or by normalizing the steel. So that normalization, that is normalization. And in case of normalized steel, the machinability is less as if we compared it with annealed steel. So that is it. The machining is less as compared to annealed steel. As compared to annealed steel. Now, what are the function of the normalization? Normalization is done. So why normalization is done? It is done for various reasons. So first, to refine the grain structure of steel to which improve the machinability. So to refine the grain structure of steel to improve the machinability, that is first. Second, to remove the strain caused by the cold working process. Third, to remove the dislocations caused by internal structure of the steel due to hot working, and to improve certain mechanical and electrical property. So certain mechanical and electrical properties can be improved by normalizing. So the main reason is to refine the grains. Secondly, to remove the strains. Third, to remove the imperfection. The dislocation is a type of imperfection. So to remove the crystal imperfection or structural imperfection, if we want to remove the structural imperfection from the workpiece or from the material, internal structural imperfection, that can be removed by normalizing process. Next, we are coming to hardening. What is hardening? Hardening is the process which is mostly suited for high carbon steel. In case of hardening, steel is first heated at a certain temperature, that may be above recrystallization temperature or above austenization temperature, and after that it is cooled by quenching or by sudden quenching into a cooling medium. So by sudden quenching, what happened? By sudden quenching, a metastable material, that is martensite, a martensite is formed. That martensite is very hard material. So that's why it is used for high carbon steel, and this high carbon steel with martensite inside can be used as tool material or cutting tool material. So heat treated high carbon steel or heat treated steel are mostly used tool material. Now this the process is done by heating the steel about 1000 degrees Celsius where the structure has only FCC, austenite, and which is followed by sudden quenching in a sudden quenching in a cooling medium, that is water or oil. When we quench the FCC, when we quench the FCC into water, at that time what happened? At that time, due to temperature difference, the FCC material will try to change to BCC. But as the time is less, so complete composition, complete synthesis of BCC structure iron is not formed. But what can be formed? A BCT structure, or body central tetrahedral structure, can be formed. This BCT structure is more hard or more rigid than our BCC structure. So BCC means body centered cubic structure. So as the BCT structure is more hard than BCC structure, and this BCT structure retains due to fast cooling, and this BCT structure iron is called martensite. So martensite formation can be seen in case of hardening operation. So in case of hardening, martensite formation can be seen. So again, just to recall, just remember one thing, that is, in annealing, cooling is done where? Cooling is done in the furnace itself. In case of normalizing, the cooling is done at atmospheric temperature, and in case of hardening, the cooling is done by quenching it into a medium, into a cooling medium. That cooling medium may be oil, or that cooling medium can be water. So this is how the material is processed, or this is how some important heat treatment has been done. Now we will see about what are the consequences of hardening and what are the process. So the consequences of the hardening is that due to sudden quenching, what happened? FCC structure, see, austenite transform into a semi-stable BCT, that is body centered tetrahedral structure called martensite. Just the thing I have said just now. And this transformation occur according to some characteristics. So this transformation to martensite, austenite to martensite transformation, this transformation occurs by following some characteristics. And what are those characteristics? First, this transformation occurs at the speed of sound. Second, the transformation does not depend upon time. Third, the transformation is a diffusion-less process, means with time more material will transform. This won't be the case here, and 100% complete transformation cannot be achieved at room temperature. That means 100% transformation from the material to from the austenite to 100% transformation from the austenite to martensite is never possible at room temperature. So this is the hardening process. And in the hardening process, what is the purpose of the hardening process? So as the 100% conversion of austenite to martensite is not possible, then what happened? There is retained austenite, and this retained austenite are dimensionally unstable. These austenites are unstable, and they changes the dimensional properties of the in the hardened component. So this austenite should be eliminated. So this austenite elimination can be done by some process. Those are subcooling, permanent deformation, or high temperature tempering. So this elimination process, which are followed after hardening, results in what? This elimination process result in relieving the residual stress first, and it increases the ductility and the toughness of the material. So now these are the consequences. Now what are the function of hardening process? The main function of the hardening process to increase the hardness that would resist the wear, and it is to enable it to cut the material. So by hardening, it enables the workpiece to cut other material, that is to make it suitable for making cutting tools. So the material can be used to make cutting tool, that is hardening process. Now in case of tempering, there is three types. First is ostempering. Ostempering is a misnomer because it is not a tempering process but a hardening process. So it is ostempering. In case of ostempering, the in the as the it does not misnomer means it does not goes with its name. So it is a the name is not given properly. At this type of case is called misomers. So in case this is a misomers because this is not a ostempering is not a tempering process, but it is a hardening process. It is also known as isothermal quenching. In this process, what is done? Steel is heated to above upper critical temperature, and at that temperature, structure has or steel has complete austenitic structure. Means each and every part of the material or part of the workpiece is austenite. Now it is suddenly cooled by quenching in a brine solution or salt bath or lead bath, and by by doing so, what is happening? Complete layer up or complete martensite formation can be done. From austenite to martensite formation by using this process is known as ostempering. And this ostempering process, in this ostempering process, the quenching is done on salt bath or lead bath, and those salt bath and lead bath is maintained at a temperature of 250 to 525 degrees Celsius. So at high temperature, at this temperature, martensite can retain. So martensite cannot be complete conversion. In the last thing, in the last discussion about hardening, we have seen that complete conversion from austenite to martensite is not possible in room temperature, but at higher temperature in lead bath or salt bath, what can be possible? Complete deformation, complete transformation from austenite to martensite can be possible, and this conversion has been done by using has been done, and that conversion is named as ostempering. Next is martempering. Martempering, what is martempering? This is also a process of getting martensite. Getting 100% martensite means 100% deformation to 100% transformation of austenite to martensite. For that, this is another approach, that is martempering. In this process, what is done? In this process, this is the process of stepped quenching. That means the material is quenched in successive manner. This process, I guess this process you can see in the local blacksmith shop. In local blacksmith shop, you can see that after each blow of hammer, if the material is taking shape, the blacksmith usually pour that material in or quench that workpiece into the water, into cold water, and that is done to gain this martempering process. By successive quenching, what is happening? By successive quenching, the austenite, those are generated in higher temperature, and that higher temperature, those are generated inside the material, can be completely converted into martensite. For that, successive quenching has been done. This type of successive quenching is known as Mart tempering. So it consists, Mart tempering consists of heating the steel above the upper critical temperature, then quenching it in a multi-stage up to a certain temperature. So it is quenched up to when? Up to it reach it desired temperature, and whole temperature is the room temperature or desired temperature or room temperature, so that no transformation will be there. So by reaching this temperature, what is needed? To reaching this temperature, a number of quenching is needed, number of successive quenching is needed. By number of this successive quenching, the austenite will be completely transformed to martensite, and this is the process of Mart tempering. Next we are coming to tempering. Tempering is completely different from Mart tempering and austempering. Tempering is a process which is known as drawing. So it is done to for following reasons. What are those? To reduce the brittleness and hardness of the steel, that increase its ductility, and to remove the internal stresses caused by rapid cooling of the steel. Next, to make the steel tough enough to resist shock and fatigue. This tempering process consists of reheating the hardened steel up to some temperature but below the lower critical temperature, and followed by the desired rate of cooling. So when the heat treatment is done below the recrystallization or below the lower critical temperature of the body, then it is called tempering. In that, tempering is a secondary process, means after the heat treatment is done, after the desired hardness is achieved by heat treatment, we may go for tempering. That tempering will relieve the residual stress, partially relieve the residual stress. First, it can make the steel tough to resist shock and fatigue. So this type of the properties which can be added to the material in the secondary condition can be done by tempering process. So tempering process is not necessarily done at the time of the manufacturing, but tempering can be done at any time to increase the property to some extent or to improve the property to certain extent. Next we are coming to the surface hardening. Surface hardening, it is also known as case hardening. So in the automobile engineering, it has great application. The surface hardening has great application, and it is desirable that a steel being used should have a hardened surface. So the surface of the steel should be hard to resist wear and tear. At the same time, it should be soft and tough at the interior so that it can absorb shock. So this type of critical case, when hardness is the requirement on the outer side and softness or toughness is the requirement on the inside, at that time what is done? At that time the hardening is done on the surface only, and this type of treatment can be applied in case of gear, ball bearing, railway wheels, etc. So this type of treatment can be done by using carburizing, by using cyaniding, by using nitriding. Next, induction flame hardening or induction hardening and flame hardening. In case of carburizing, what is done? By chemical reaction, by heating the material to a highly carbonized environment, the surface hardening is achieved, that is carburizing. When in place of in the carbon environment, when the environment is cyanide, and that by that heating is done, that is called cyaniding. Similarly, nitriding can be done using nitrogen. And induction hardening is done by using a induction coil all over the material body. And in case of flame hardening, a oxyacetylene flame is used to heat the material or heat the outer surface of the workpiece at the above the recrystallization temperature, and quench it quench it for fast cooling rate, and the temperature is brought back to the room temperature very fast, so that those material, a solidification skin only can change, only at the wall. The change, microstructural change, will be only at the wall of the workpiece, and in the interior the workpiece will be same. So this is the process of surface hardening. So that is it. That is for heat treatment. I guess you have understood, and if you have any problem, you may ask now. You can ask. And another thing, that is, with this lecture we have completed, I guess, second module also. Now from the next day we will start our module 3, and till then, hope you enjoyed this lecture, and if you have any problem, you will ask in live class. Thank you.